One of the things we regularly talk about here at NPBC is doing life and faith together. Nowhere does that happen more than in our life groups. We're blessed to have a number of these at NPBC. Small groups of people who meet together to explore the Bible, to worship, to serve, or to simply build relationship, or just to be together as God's people. Our heart is that anyone who's part of our church family is also in one of these groups. Now, as our church family grows and changes, and as we look to ensure the ongoing health of these groups, but also to encourage more growth, we've created a summary and some simple guidelines outlining the objectives of those groups, the elements that we consider to be important for a life group at NPBC. Our prayer is that this is a useful resource, a helpful reference point for both new groups and established groups. And this short video outlines exactly that. So, we're going to start with what life groups are and the language that we've chosen to describe them. Life groups are where we do life and faith together. Across NPBC, there are a wide range of life groups to help us explore what it means to follow Jesus and live out our faith in the ups and downs of life. As a church, we see them as the primary place for us to grow in our relationship with God and with one another as we explore the Bible, worship, serve, or simply enjoy being together. They are also a place for us to support and care for one another, emotionally, spiritually, and practically. Our heart is that everyone at NPBC is committed to being part of a life group. With groups at various times and locations across Newport Pagnell and Milton Keynes, life groups are also the perfect place to invite those who are new to the church family or exploring faith for the first time. As well as this though, we've identified a number of guidelines. Guidelines that will help us build and nurture these groups. I need to reassure you, this isn't about every group looking the same, but about ensuring that they operate in a similar way, that they're aligned to our larger goals to deepen people's faith and to see people come to know Jesus for the first time. There are 10 of these guidelines in total, and I'm going to briefly run you through them all now. Number 1, mission. We want our groups to have a heart for mission. In fact, a key role of each group is to build the faith of their existing members, but also create a space to introduce others. You might not be surprised to hear that the Alpha course also plays a key role in this. When any of those courses have run and come to an end, and depending on the numbers, we'll either seek to integrate people into existing groups or use it as an opportunity to start a new life group. Number 2, Pastoral Care. Life groups are intended as our initial provider of care for all those within the group. Supported by a designated contact within the central pastoral team, our heart is that groups can sustainably support their members themselves, whether that be emotionally, practically, or spiritually in the ups and downs of life. However, where a situation needs greater support, or there may even be safeguarding considerations, the group's pastoral lead will always be able to liaise with the central pastoral team or the church's designated safeguarding officer. Number 3, size. Our aim is for groups to have a minimum of 8 and a maximum of 16 committed members. Recognising that not everyone can attend every week, this should mean that at least 4 to 10 people will have an opportunity to meet regularly. As a group grows though, and at the point where any group is regularly seeing 10 to 12 attendees each week, we would encourage and support them to consider forming a new group so that one group can become two. Number 4, timing, frequency and location. Our heart is for groups to meet face to face on a weekly basis. Although we recognise that online meetings might increase attendance, particularly during the winter, our heart is that that should be really regarded as an interim measure only. Groups should use homes to meet wherever possible, somewhere comfortable. Although a space at the church where that's needed or is simply more appropriate. It's worth noting at this point that the aim of the church is to ensure a spread of days and times that groups can meet, although intentionally avoiding Monday evenings to take account of that being our night for church business meetings. Number 5, group makeup. Whilst we acknowledge that there are some age groups, life stages or faith stages which benefit from journeying together, for example, young adults or older generations, our preference is always for groups to be built on diversity or perhaps shared interests rather than by age group or by life stage. This is really important in bringing lots of different perspectives and life or faith experiences to a group. Additionally, while some people might want to remain in the same group for life, we also acknowledge that, well, some people may want to move from one group to another. Unless it's because of upset or disagreement, that's absolutely something we'd want to encourage. Number 6, culture. We want our groups to be an encouraging place, a safe and trusted space where different viewpoints are welcomed and encouraged, and where friendships can be built. Confidentiality is absolutely key to this, aligned of course to our church's safeguarding policy. But additionally, groups should always have the flexibility to be responsive to what the groups need in that moment. For example, it might be a sharing evening, a social, or a night dedicated just to prayer. Groups must have the flexibility to be able to choose that for themselves based on where God is leading them. Number 7, leadership. While each group should have an agreed overall lead, our heart is always for shared leadership in our life groups. We'd encourage you to have regular, open discussions in your groups to ensure that the different functions are shared across different individuals within your group, preventing any one person from having too much to do. These functions might include, firstly, the role of coordination or hosting. The person who gets everyone together, reminds people when and where the group is meeting, welcomes people, guides them through the evening, and ensures any church family news is passed on. That's one role, but then there's the pastoral lead. We've already referred to them. The task here is to be the first point of contact for any pastoral issues, practical or otherwise, within the group. Importantly, this doesn't mean that the individual has to do everything, but that they coordinate the care and support for the members in the group as is required. Thirdly, there's the Bible study lead, the person who coordinates how the evening's exploration of the Bible will run. We'd always encourage a rota of those willing to lead in this aspect of the group's gatherings, remembering this is not a role that's about having lots and lots of Bible knowledge, though that can help, but about facilitating great discussion based on notes that will always be provided. The last function, the fourth, is the social lead, someone to coordinate the group's social gatherings. Number 8, teaching themes. Our church leadership team will always provide teaching materials connected with the Sunday service programme. We want to tie those two things together so that we can journey together in God's Word. At certain points, the church may ask groups to focus on specific topics, to allow the church to move together. But at other times, it's also okay for groups to decide to follow their own material, to best meet the needs of their own group. Over time, the church plans to develop a resource library to help support this. Number 9, joining. It must be easy and obvious how to join a life group, initiated primarily and proactively as part of the welcome for new joiners to Newport Pagnell Baptist Church. This is a process that's under development, and we expect to have it in place and clearly communicated by the end of 2023. But we're also keen to build life groups themselves that are as warm and as welcoming as our Sunday mornings, with it being considered normal for people to explore different groups before maybe deciding on which group to commit to. Number 10, serving. We believe groups benefit significantly from building a heart to serve together in and out of our church environment. At present, the best opportunity for this is the Sunday morning refreshments rota, where every group gets a chance to serve. But we're keen to see growth in this area over time. If you're a group that wants to serve, let me encourage you. Don't be shy in letting us know. There you have it. A simple summary and 10 practical guidelines to help our life groups flourish, to grow in number, and to be places where we all deepen our relationship and our walk with God.